Hey, this is Marcus Washington, MTC Media here with the Golden Dome Report. And as you know by now, Notre Dame will be playing Indiana in the first round of the college football playoff. And it's in a game not only important to the university, but it is definitely a game that's important to Marcus Freeman. I had said throughout this season, if Notre Dame makes it to the college football playoff, it is important for them to win at least one game, basically because during the BCS era, you saw that Notre Dame was not successful when they were able to make their championship throughout the playoffs. They haven't been successful in a long time. Throughout, even when they had a New Year's Six bowl game, it didn't work out. So people who don't like Notre Dame are lying in wait to say, "Oh, why do you always put them in? They never win." Blah 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 blah. So from a perception perspective, because a lot of that's just idiocy. From a perspective, from a just a perception perspective, it is important, especially for it being a home game, is a home night game. And when I looked at Notre Dame hosting, I definitely thought they should host. I thought they fell too far down in the seedings. I've said this, and I'll continue to say this. I thought Notre Dame should have been seeded above Penn State. I think there's no doubt about it. But that didn't happen, so they draw Indiana. And, it's a game that's a winnable game. You can talk about both of those teams of late and saying, well, who have they truly beat? Notre Dame can always go back to opening night where they beat Texas A&M. It's better than any win that Indiana has on their schedule. So from that perspective, you might not say that Notre Dame has a bunch of big time wins, but they got one more than Indiana. And so I don't know how that's going to play out when they play, but I will tell you this. For Notre Dame to win that game, it has to be defensively led. It's not going to be a situation, I don't think, where they can beat Indiana in a game that's in the high 30s, low 40s, and Indiana is going to want this to be a track meet. There's no doubt about it, but we'll get into that as the game gets closer. So, Marcus Freeman's success always puts you in the rumor mill, and of late, there has been, will Marcus Freeman end up in the NFL? Because, relatively speaking, right down the road, there's going to be a head coach opening in the NFL, and that's going to be with the Chicago Bears. And would they take Marcus Freeman, who would be a first-time NFL coach, who has been in college for X amount of years and not in the NFL, and would the Bears prefer a head coach who, even if it's the first time he's been a head coach, has had extensive NFL coaching experience? I think for Marcus Freeman, if you're offered the Bears job, I never want to say you have to take it, but in a sense, I feel like he has to take it. I feel like that would be the equivalent on the college basketball level, was when after 2 years, after 2 years at George Mason, which was Kim English's first head coaching job, he got offered the Providence job in the Big East, and you're like, yo, bro, you got to take that. And then, so if that does happen, especially if Notre Dame wins a game or two in the playoff, that is going to ramp up of whether Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren would like to poach him away from Notre Dame. And he would fit what they want in this sense. Warren and Poles want someone who, in a sense, won't question their authority. That they can stick in there, they can still do their jobs exactly their way without static, which is why I wonder how much the Bears will want someone like Mike Vrabel, who went through that in Tennessee and has made it clear that in his next head coaching job, he doesn't want to go through that again. He doesn't want a front office that doesn't allow him to have an incredible amount of say. And so, being a first-time NFL coach and having come from college, I think Poles and Warren would be very comfortable with a Marcus Freeman, because it wouldn't necessarily be someone who's going to come in here with this NFL pedigree that says, I need to have X amount of control over personnel. I need to have X amount of control of this and that. I think their thought would be is he's going to come in here and just want to coach. And I think that's what type of coach they want for the Bears, whether that person has NFL experience or that person doesn't have any NFL experience. But again, we'll see. We're a long way away from that. But if Notre Dame wins a playoff game or two, just expect that to go crazy, whether it ends up coming to fruition or not. So thank you for joining me for this episode of the Golden Dome Report. Again, we will have a game preview as the game comes closer as Notre Dame hosts Indiana. This is Marcus Washington, MCC Media.